Hidden Potential by Adam Grant. Part 1, Introduction, Core Concepts, and Theoretical Frameworks. Introduction, The Myth of Natural Talent. The premise. Adam Grant opens Hidden Potential by challenging a widespread belief that the most successful people are those who are naturally gifted. Society celebrates prodigies and geniuses, often overlooking those who start out average but evolve into extraordinary performers. This book seeks to correct that narrative. According to Grant, the difference between success and stagnation isn't merely innate talent. It's often how people grow, how they practice, and how they respond to adversity. The potential to excel is more common than we think. The real variable is whether that potential is unlocked and cultivated. Why hidden potential matters. In many domains, education, sports, business, there's an obsession with top talent. But this lens causes us to overlook late bloomers, people from underprivileged backgrounds, those who improve steadily but quietly. Grant argues that hidden potential is not just a matter of personal development, it's a societal opportunity. By shifting how we evaluate and develop people, we can build a fairer, more innovative world. The central question: what if the key to greatness isn't found in our genes, but in how we grow? Grant wants readers to stop asking, "How talented is this person?" and instead ask, "How fast can this person learn and adapt?" This question leads into the heart of the book. How do we unlock potential that's hidden, underestimated, or underdeveloped? Core themes of the book. 1. Growth over grit. While grit, perseverance, and passion is important, it's not sufficient. People need the right systems, feedback, and opportunities to struggle productively. Growth isn't just about individual traits, it's also about environmental design. 2. Scaffolding development. We don't grow in isolation. Teachers, coaches, peers, and institutions create the scaffolding that enables potential. Success often depends less on the individual and more on the quality of support structures. 3. Character over credentials. Credentials may open doors, but they don't predict who will perform over time. Grant emphasizes character skills, curiosity, humility, discipline as more predictive of growth than traditional measures like IQ or GPAs. 4. Struggle is essential. Success often emerges from productive struggle, when individuals push themselves into discomfort, confront their limits, and grow through challenge. Grant calls this the zone of proximal development, the sweet spot between boredom and burnout. 5. Systems build success. Rather than searching for star performers, we should build systems that develop and elevate more people. Organizations, schools, and families that focus on learning environments rather than elitism get better long-term results. Theoretical foundations. How growth happens. A. The zone of proximal development. Adapted from psychologist Lev Vygotsky, this theory proposes that learning is most effective when a task is just beyond your current ability, but not too far out of reach. Grant uses this concept to argue that real development happens in this stretch zone. Key insight: growth is most powerful when we're pushed, not overwhelmed, not under-challenged, but gently stretched. B. Incremental versus entity mindsets. Grant builds on Carol Dweck's work on growth versus fixed mindsets. But he goes further. It's not enough to believe that abilities can grow. People also need to know how to grow and have systems that support growth. Entity mindset. I'm either good at this or I'm not. Incremental mindset. I can improve with effort and strategy. Grant emphasizes the need to institutionalize the growth mindset, not just teach it individually. C. Scaffolding theory. Borrowed from educational psychology, scaffolding refers to temporary structures of support that are removed as competence increases. In practice, a teacher offering guided steps, a mentor giving feedback and modeling behavior, a system that builds learning gradually and adaptively. Grant's thesis is that hidden potential is often unlocked not by inner fire alone, but by strategic scaffolding. Talent versus trajectory. One of Grant's key insights is distinguishing between current performance and future trajectory. Hidden Potential by Adam Grant. Part 2. Chapter-by-chapter summary. Chapters 1 through 3. Chapter 1. The Talent Trap. Summary. This opening chapter expands on a powerful theme. Our society has a bias toward early talent, and it often misleads us. Grant begins with compelling stories of individuals who were labeled not talented enough early in life, only to later become high achievers. He contrasts these with prodigies who fizzled out. The goal is to illustrate a simple truth: early ability is not destiny. Key concepts. A. The danger of fixed labels. Labels like gifted, smart, or average can become self-fulfilling prophecies. When people are labeled early, they internalize those labels and begin to behave in ways that either limit or fulfill them. A child told they're not athletic may avoid sports and never develop skill. A smart child might fear failure and avoid hard challenges to protect their image. Labels don't just reflect who we are, they shape who we become. B. The myth of early predictors. Standardized tests, IQ assessments, and early school performance only weakly predict long-term success. Many studies show that traits like resilience, adaptability, and motivation are stronger indicators of who will excel over time. C. Trajectory versus snapshot. One of Grant's key messages here is to favor trajectories, rates of improvement, over snapshots, current ability. A person growing quickly is often more valuable than someone who started strong but is stagnating. Notable research. The Perry Preschool Study showed that long-term outcomes, graduation, employment, were better predicted by children's character development than by IQ. Follow-ups on gifted children. Many labeled gifted didn't achieve more than others unless they also had the right support systems. Practical implications. In hiring, look for signs of learning and growth, not just credentials. In schools, avoid fixed ability tracking, provide chances for growth across the board. In parenting, praise effort and process, not just outcomes or innate traits. Chapter 2. Productive Struggle. Summary. This chapter introduces the idea of productive struggle, the kind of challenge that leads to growth. Grant argues that potential is rarely unlocked through ease and success. It's through wrestling with difficulty that people develop depth and capability. Key concepts. A. Discomfort equals development. Struggling doesn't mean you're failing. In fact, if you're not struggling, you're probably not growing. Grant emphasizes that struggle should be manageable, not too overwhelming. Be guided, supported by feedback and scaffolding. Be purposeful, tied to learning goals. B. Desirable difficulties. Borrowing from cognitive science, Grant discusses desirable difficulties, challenges that impair performance in the short term but improve retention and mastery over time. Examples: learning by testing, retrieval practice, using handwriting instead of typing notes, struggling to solve a problem before being taught the answer. The path to mastery is often paved with missteps. Psychological frameworks. 1. The learning zone versus the performance zone. Learning zone. Focus on getting better, taking risks, experimenting. Performance zone. Focus on proving ability, minimizing errors. Grant argues that the best performers spend more time in the learning zone, even when they are already elite. 2. Zone of proximal development, Vygotsky. Learning is most effective when it's in the sweet spot. Not too easy, not too hard. Grant calls this the Goldilocks zone of challenge. Case studies. A math teacher who embraces productive failure by allowing students to struggle with problems before teaching the solution, resulting in deeper comprehension. A swimmer who trained using resistance methods that forced her into uncomfortable training sessions, ultimately shaving seconds off her time. Takeaways. Struggle isn't the enemy, it's a requirement for growth. Design learning experiences that stretch people, not just reward success. Give people space to fail safely, especially early in their development. Chapter 3. The Character Advantage. Summary. While most systems reward credentials, Grant argues that character traits like humility, curiosity, perseverance, and integrity are better predictors of future success. Chapter 3. Chapter-by-chapter summary, chapters 4 through 6. Chapter 4. Scaffolding Success. Summary. This chapter introduces one of the book's central mechanisms for developing hidden potential: scaffolding. Scaffolding refers to structured support systems that help people grow beyond their current capabilities. Grant makes the case that excellence is not built in isolation, but through strategic, adaptive support. Key concepts. A. Scaffolding defined. Scaffolding is a temporary framework that enables learners to attempt more than they could on their own, take meaningful risks, internalize skills before the support is withdrawn. Common examples: a teacher who provides hints instead of answers, a manager who walks through a tough task the first time, then steps back, a mentor who breaks challenges into digestible steps. B. From dependence to mastery. The goal of scaffolding is not dependency. It's to provide just enough help to allow autonomy to emerge. Support is not a crutch, it's a launch pad. 3 dimensions of scaffolding. Cognitive scaffolding. Techniques that help people process information. Example, chunking, guided questioning. Emotional scaffolding. Encouragement and psychological safety that make it safe to fail and try again. Structural scaffolding. Systems and resources that reduce friction. Example, step-by-step learning systems, mentorship programs, access to resources. Research and case studies. Chess players, young players with coaches who focused on learning strategy rather than winning, improved more over time. Code academies. Boot camps with built-in peer support and live mentorship consistently outperform self-paced courses. Grant argues that the right scaffolding creates multipliers for growth. Common pitfalls. Under-scaffolding. Throwing people into challenges without enough support leads to failure and burnout. Over-scaffolding. Too much hand-holding can inhibit independence and confidence. Inflexible scaffolding. Systems must adapt to the learner's growth. Takeaways. Growth accelerates when people are stretched and supported. Educators, parents, and leaders should invest in adaptive scaffolding systems. The best support helps others become self-sufficient learners. Chapter 5. Belonging builds potential. Summary. This chapter explores how social context, particularly belonging, influences a person's ability to realize their potential. Grant argues that feeling excluded or unvalued can shut down growth, while feeling seen, safe, and connected unlocks performance. Key concepts. A. Belonging as a psychological foundation. Belonging isn't a nice-to-have, it's essential. People who feel out of place often underperform, withdraw from challenges, reject feedback. Those who feel they belong are more open to growth, more resilient to failure, more likely to persevere through discomfort. You don't unlock your potential when you feel like an outsider. B. Identity threats. Even subtle signals can make people feel like they don't belong. Lack of representation. Stereotype cues. Example, girls aren't good at math. Implicit bias in feedback or expectations. Grant emphasizes the need to combat these threats intentionally in every domain, from classrooms to corporations. Belonging interventions that work. Values affirmation. Having students write about their core values helped marginalized groups perform better academically by reducing stereotype threat. Normalizing struggle. When students read letters from older students describing their early struggles, it reduced dropouts and increased GPA. Representation. Seeing mentors or leaders who look like you increases confidence and aspiration. Case studies. Silicon Valley tech companies implementing peer mentoring for women and underrepresented minorities. School districts using belonging cues, inclusive posters, diverse curricula to improve engagement. Takeaways. Belonging isn't just about culture, it's a catalyst for growth. Leaders must design environments where people feel safe, seen, and valued. Belonging fuels engagement, resilience, and achievement. Chapter 6. Systems that Scale Growth. Summary. This chapter turns from individual psychology to institutional design. Grant explores how systems and environments can either accelerate or block growth at scale. The goal is to scale the unlocking of hidden potential not just in individuals, but across organizations, schools, and societies. Key concepts. A. Institutional bottlenecks. Grant outlines how traditional systems often. Chapter 4. Chapter-by-chapter summary. Chapters 7 through 9. Chapter 7. The Feedback Engine. Summary. This chapter zeroes in on feedback as a critical driver of potential. Grant argues that without continuous constructive feedback, growth is stunted. But not all feedback is created equal. He explores the science behind giving and receiving feedback, highlighting strategies that promote real learning and improvement. Key concepts. A. Feedback equals acceleration. When given well, feedback serves as a growth multiplier. It helps identify blind spots, reinforce strengths, course correct quickly. But feedback only works when it's timely, specific, actionable, delivered with care. B. The feedback fallacy. Many organizations rely on generic or evaluative feedback. You're doing great, or you're not cutting it, which doesn't help people learn. Grant emphasizes developmental feedback instead, which focuses on behavior, not personality, and offers suggestions for growth. Research highlights. Radical candor, Kim Scott. Effective feedback is high in both care and challenge. Without care, it's cruel. Without challenge, it's useless. Growth mindset interventions. Feedback framed as a signal of belief in someone's potential boosts motivation and performance. The best feedback environments have frequent, small doses. Don't wait for big reviews. Microfeedback helps course correct in real time. Psychological safety. People must feel safe enough to hear and act on criticism. Two-way feedback channels. When feedback flows up, down, and sideways, it becomes part of the culture. Feedback strategies. Ask, don't just tell. What's one thing I could do better? Invites openness. Frame with intent. I'm sharing this because I want to help you grow. Follow up. Effective feedback loops include checking in on progress. Case studies. A Navy SEAL team that runs post-mission debriefs where everyone, including the commander, gets feedback, creating a norm of improvement. A high-performing classroom where students give each other structured peer feedback, boosting performance and accountability. Takeaways. Feedback is fuel when it's frequent, kind, specific, and actionable. Build a feedback culture, not just feedback moments. Feedback should be seen not as evaluation, but as an investment in growth. Chapter 8. The Power of Peers. Summary. Grant turns the spotlight on peer influence, arguing that growth doesn't just happen in isolation or under mentors, it also flourishes among equals. The right peer environments can elevate standards, drive persistence, and spark innovation. Key concepts. A. Peers shape performance. Peers influence not just behavior, but beliefs about what's possible. When people are surrounded by others striving to improve, they push themselves harder, model resilience and effort, Normalize mistakes as part of learning. Peer pressure is not just a social force, it's a learning engine. B. The value of peer feedback. Peers can offer unique perspectives because they see each other in action regularly. They speak a shared language. They model the learning process in real time. Grant explores how peer coaching and peer-led learning are often more effective than top-down instruction alone. Case studies. The Seed School in D.C. builds peer accountability and teamwork into every part of the school day, leading to higher college matriculation rates. Code review practices at top tech companies rely on peer evaluation, not just manager feedback, to improve code quality and developer growth. Medical residents learning faster through peer rounds than formal lectures because of immediate, relevant application. Building peer learning environments. Shared goals. When teams rally around a mission, peer collaboration flourishes. Psychological safety. People must feel safe to ask dumb questions or share early drafts. Constructive norms. Create rules for giving helpful feedback and celebrating progress. Pitfalls to avoid. Toxic competition. Peer dynamics can backfire if they become zero-sum or overly status-driven. Groupthink. Homogeneous peer groups can reinforce blind spots if not carefully structured. Grant recommends diverse, high-challenge, high-trust peer groups as the gold standard. Takeaways. Peers can inspire, stretch, and teach us in ways mentors often can't. Build peer learning into classrooms, teams, and training programs. Make feedback and collaboration. Part 5. Final chapters and conclusion. Chapters 10, 11, plus epilogue. Chapter 10. Designing for Progress. Summary. This chapter synthesizes the book's insights into a practical model for designing environments and systems that consistently unlock hidden potential. Grant lays out actionable frameworks that schools, organizations, and individuals can use to foster growth more systematically. Key concepts. A. The progress principle. The most motivating and growth-enhancing environments are not the most rewarding, they're the ones where people feel they're making progress. Progress, not perfection, is what sustains effort. B. Growth design framework. Grant proposes a three-part framework for building environments that foster development. 1. Direction, purpose plus aspiration. Growth accelerates when people know what they're striving toward, feel connected to something meaningful, have goals that are challenging but achievable. Examples: students thrive in classrooms where learning is linked to real-world impact. Employees grow when their roles serve a larger mission. 2. Support, scaffolding plus belonging. As discussed in earlier chapters, scaffolding enables people to stretch, and belonging makes them want to stay and try again. Key tools: coaching and mentorship, peer feedback systems, inclusive norms and signals. 3. Accountability, feedback plus consequences. Progress requires data, both internal, self-assessment, and external, feedback from others. Supportive accountability includes clear expectations, frequent feedback, grace for mistakes, but consequences for neglect. Case studies. Alt School, now part of Higher Ground Education, designed student-directed learning paths using this framework. Professional sports teams use player development departments with performance coaches, nutritionists, and psychologists all aligned to the same growth goals. Deliberately developmental organizations integrate learning into daily work rather than treat it as an extracurricular activity. Design pitfalls to avoid. Overemphasis on talent identification. This filters out many who could grow. Lack of transparency. People can't improve what they can't see. Failure to align incentives. Rewarding only results discourages experimentation and development. Takeaways. Growth is best supported by environments that combine aspiration, support, and accountability. To unlock hidden potential, we must design for progress, not just outcomes. Institutions should optimize for long-term learning, not short-term performance. Chapter 11. The Potential in All of Us. Summary. Grant concludes the main chapters by addressing a profound truth. Everyone has hidden potential, but realizing it requires work, not just from individuals, but from the communities, systems, and cultures around them. Key concepts. A. Unseen barriers. Many people don't achieve their potential because of invisible but powerful barriers. Lack of opportunity, systemic bias, gatekeeping systems that reward polish over progress. Grant urges leaders to remove these barriers instead of blaming individuals for not thriving. B. We all have the capacity to lift others. Potential is not just something we uncover in ourselves. It's something we help unlock in others. Your greatest achievement may not be what you do. It may be what you inspire others to do. Ways to lift others. Offer feedback with belief, not judgment. Create spaces of belonging and challenge. See the unseen. Believe in people before they believe in themselves. Examples of hidden potential realized. Educators who see brilliance in students overlooked by others. Managers who advocate for quiet performers and help them rise. Parents who support children's dreams even when unconventional. The long view of potential. Growth is rarely linear, fast, or glamorous. Grant encourages us to be patient with progress. Redefine success as improvement, not dominance. Find pride in our own trajectory, not just the destination. Takeaways. Potential is a shared responsibility. It flourishes in the presence of others who believe and invest. Everyone can be a multiplier of growth. The future of talent is not in discovering the exceptional, it's in helping the many become exceptional. Conclusion. The hidden gift. Closing reflection. In the epilogue, Grant reflects on what he hopes readers take away, that potential is not a fixed trait or a rare spark. It's a flame that can be cultivated